Hello, today in class we're going to talk about another way of writing down of fractional numbers. It's decimals. So we're going to talk about a new way of writing fractional numbers. But right away, I want to warn you that not all fractional numbers can be written as decimals. But to begin with, we will look at how decimal fractions are written down and how we can recognize them. So let's write down one of the decimal fractions. I'm writing down 2 whole 3 decimals. Note that when we write down common fractional numbers in general, we use a fractional dash. In this case, we are not using a given fractional trait. So what do we use? We use this dot here, which divides our entry into a whole part and a fractional part. So 2 is the whole part, which is a whole number. This is the point that separates the integer part of our record from the fractional part, and it's called the decimal point. Next, and then this remaining part is the fractional part, which is what I'm writing down. This is the decimal notation of the fractional number. But what does this decimal notation mean? So if I need to understand what this number means, I can write it down as a fractional number. So how do I write it down? So if I'm talking about the first number being an integer part, that's how I write down 2 integers. And I'll write down the rest of it as a fractional number, as we're used to seeing it. But in order to do that, 3 I will put in the numerator, and in the denominator I will always put the numbers 10, 100, 1000, and so on. That is, those numbers that consist of 1 and 0. But the question arises, what number should I put? 10, 100, 1000, and so on. It will depend on how many digits are after our symbol. If there is 1 digit after the symbol, then I write the number 10. Why? Because 10 has only 1 0. That is one number, 1 0. Let's write down some more decimal fractional numbers with you. So 5 whole numbers and 15 hundredths. How do you write this number as an ordinary fractional number? 5 integers. So I write 5 integers. Then I put a fractional line. I write the number 15 in the numerator. That's 15. Next, I need to write down the denominator. Let's say that we write down the denominator only with the numbers 10, 100, 1000, and so on. That is, numbers that consist of ones and zeros. Let's count how many digits there are after our dot. 2 digits, so I write 1, and since there are 2 digits, I write 2 zeros. The result is a fractional number. It's a mixed fractional number that reads 5.15 hundredths. The next number is 0.873 thousandths. Again, let's try to write it down. First, we're going to write down the whole part of this number, and that's 0 integers. But in math, it's customary not to write down an integer that equals 0. So I'm not going to write down the integer part because it's 0. I'm going to go straight to the fractional part. So, the fractional line. And now I'm going to count how many positions I have after our point. Okay, 3 positions. I write 873 in the numerator. In the denominator I write 1. And I count again. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 positions. Therefore, I write 3 zeros. This is how we will understand what the decimal fraction means. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to write a decimal fraction as a fractional number. That's all for today. Goodbye. See you again.